Hello, everyone. It's indeed a lovely Wednesday evening, and you're tuned into a Piece of V podcast. I am your host, Vanessa Makete. Joining me is a creative. Not only is he young, Zambian, black, but also talented. He is one person that's super inspiring and is impacting Zambia differently. Help me welcome Nell Kalunga-Banda.
Hello.
Welcome, Nell.
Hey. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm doing very, very well.
I'm super excited to have you today.
No, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy.
Well, goodness, I just can't appreciate you enough. The effort, the love, and the warmth that you have shown me, even as we're recording, before recording, when I reached out, I really do appreciate that. I hope you know that.
No, I definitely can see that through, even the messages you've sent me. Now I'm, help people, I'll help other Zambians as well. And, you're helping me as well. So I do appreciate it. And I appreciate you reaching out.
Amazing, great. Getting into the discussion of the day, well, I want you to know this is what I've titled this particular episode Inside the Mind of an Author. You are an author, yeah, at a very young age, 19, if I'm not mistaken.
So yes, I am an author. I published my book when I was 19. I am 20 at the moment.
Ah,
I'm 20 at the moment because I'm born in 2002, April 21st, 2002. So I published my book in October 2021. So at the time, I was still 19, and then in 2022 is when I turned 20. So I'm still a teenage author, but at the moment I've of course aged.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm just so inspired. I don't really know what I was doing at 19. I think I was in college, but then I don't really know whether being an author or a creative did cross my mind. Just give me an insight of who you are. Who's Nell? Like, really, who are you?
Okay, so Neo, myself, I am a Zambian, born in South Africa, moved from South Africa to the UK when I was around 1 years old with my family, and of course,
Hmm.
all of my family is Zambian.
Okay.
Grew up in the UK, in an area called Oxfordshire. Went to school there, played football there. I've been saying soccer because I'm currently in America, but yeah, I grew up playing football. I wanted to become a professional footballer when I was very young, and had that dream up until around 17 years of age. And then
Uh-huh.
as time went on, I realized, no, maybe I want to experience something different. Let me go to university. From that, I knew that my heart wasn't completely in with wanting to become a professional football player. So, I attended university at the University of Leicester, which is where I'm currently at. I major in
Hmm.
psychology. I've already done 2 years at the moment, and now I'm in my third year of college life, university life, and that's why I'm currently out here in America, in Oklahoma, studying at Oklahoma State University. That's a bit about me.
Well, I'm amazing. Well, that was very already. I'm already inspired just by hearing all that. At 17, you already knew what you wanted to do. You had your life figured out. At what point in your life did you decide, I want to be an author. I want to venture into something different, aside from what everyone knows me to love?
So, the story of how I, started writing is an interesting one, in my opinion. Um, it was the early days of lockdown in March 2020 when lockdown was beginning and COVID was starting. I
Oh,
was on a
wow.
FaceTime call to one of my close friends. His name's Gilbert Healy. Um,
Hmm.
he's also Zambian, who's in diaspora in the UK, and he's a musician
Hmm.
himself. So, we're
Ah,
both. Well, at the time, he was the creative. He's a musician. So I wasn't a writer at this point. He was a musician, and he was really like becoming well known within the UK. So, we were on a FaceTime call, and he said to me out of nowhere, "You should write a book." And he said this because um, I no longer had exams in the UK. The Prime Minister had just said there's a virus, a pandemic going on, and we're going to have to cancel
Mm-hmm.
your exams in summer. So, that was the summer before I was about to attend university. So I had a lot of free time on my hands now, almost like 24 hours free. I had no job, I had no school. And he knew this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's maybe why he said out of nowhere, you should write a book. And he said it so like boldly and, in a way that just caught my attention. I thought, how am I meant to write a book? What am I going to write a book about? Am I
Mm-hmm.
enough to write a book? Have I had the lived experience to write a book? And so I asked him, what, what would I write a book about? And then he's like, I don't know, write about your life maybe. So then, after that, we left the conversation there. One of the following days during lockdown, I attempted just writing a story that I experienced whilst I was in secondary school. And,
Mm-hmm.
this was the first chapter that I wrote about my book. And that is how it began, just by a friend simply challenging me to go and write a book.
Wow. I seriously do not know what to say. Many times people would walk up to me and say certain things, so I can at least relate to what you mean. People would walk up to me and say, I like the way you speak, I like the way your voice sounds. You should maybe at least consider being a voice over personality. And I'm like, oh, okay, yes. So then you actually following through with that's very brave of you.
No, I,
So
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
So getting to our third question, it's been a year since your book launch. How does that make you feel? It being endorsed by many people, many celebrities, many footballers, like how's that for you?
That has been, something I wasn't sure was going to happen at all. But before I, continue, I think for the now, let me just quickly
Mhm.
explain what my book is actually about. So
Oh
my
yes.
book is called Inspired: The Stories Within and Around Us. So it's just called Inspired, but it's all about inspiration. That's the theme of the book. Inspiration. It's about
Hmm.
inspiration. People, places, events, life stories, and the main aim of it is to try and inspire the reader to reach their highest potential. It's just a book of knowledge based on, personal stories, stories from people who have done it, people who have succeeded, people who have put in hours and hours and hours and have finally made it to a very very high level in their respective fields. And that is what the book is all about. It's all about teaching inspiration and wanting the reader to go on to do that with their own life through the stories of other people and my own life stories.
Amazing. Great.
So
So
to go back to your question of how has it been for the endorsements and so on from different people, it's been it's been life changing really. you know
mhm,
Initially, I had the first endorsement from one of the greatest footballers to have ever played football from Zambia, Kalusha, and he wrote the forward for my book. Fortunately, we were
yes.
connected through family, so having that first endorsement was the first big step.
Wow.
Then, of course, we moved on to getting endorsed by Patson Daka. He supported the project. Has a book himself, has a T-shirt. Um,
Hmm.
Other people such as Suwalanji Mpondela. She's a Zambian sprinter who's also well known. And oh yeah, Sui as well also wrote a blurb for the book. So she was part of the project
Oh,
herself. She read it before it was even out. Wrote a blurb for it. And having people like
wow.
young Zambians who are very very inspirational part of this project, and coming together to help me on my journey as I begin writing, has been
Hmm.
just amazing. And some people in the West that I've managed to meet are the likes of Gordon Brown. I met him at the United Nations General Assembly in New York in September 2022. That was probably one of the biggest highlights. That's one of the biggest profile people I've ever met in my entire life, a former
Wow.
prime minister. So
Wow. After all you've just told me, it's a lot for a 19-year-old to take in. How do you handle your social life away from you being an author, you managing such huge projects, you meeting influential people. How's your life away from being an author?
It's still it's normal in the sense that I don't get stopped on the street to take pictures with, or bombarded with paparazzi or anything like that. Like, I'm still, not low profile, but I'm still, among just, I'm a normal person still. I have done something which is quite inspirational, which is quite different, and I've achieved something quite high for my age, but I'm not famous as such. You know what I mean? I'm not famous or anything. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still live
Hmm.
quite like a normal life. I still have, friends who, I knew from a long time ago. People still message me and so on and stuff, and just congratulate me for what I've done so far. What's changed probably is the people I decide to surround myself with. So,
Ah.
when you meet the likes of people like Pats and Daka,
Hmm.
so, social media influencers here, especially in the UK and so on, um, and you're around these type of people, you realize, how people can influence the way you think, the way you behave, the way you interact with the world, and just your own life and other people. So after having that exposure to these higher profile people, these high achieving people, these very, very successful people, it just makes you want to be around those people all the time. And of course, you have friends who, you just have a laugh with, have fun times with, but it's nice for me personally to always be around such people like that, because that way I'm always competing, that way I'm always trying to move forward, that way I'm always progressing. If I'm around these type
Yes.
of people, if I'm
Hmm.
always around people who, if I'm always in a room where, like, I'm the one who's done something, I'm the one who's written a book, I'm the one who's achieved something at such a young age, you can lead to complacency, and you can start
Oh,
thinking,
yes.
wow, I've done all these things, these people haven't even started and stuff. But no, I've met a 16-year-old author. I've met authors who are younger than me. So that for
Oh,
me is
wow.
is one of the most inspiring parts of this entire journey, of just meeting other influential and inspiring people.
Amazing. I took time to actually read more about you, just dig up stuff about you. And then I realized you love to be around people that are like minded. So, would you at least explain to me how you manage to balance both your academic life and your career? Seeing that you're studying and then you also have projects going on, how's that for you?
That has been challenging here and there for sure. Like, it definitely has been challenging, especially while I was writing the book. There was times in which, when I was in Leicester, still in the UK, studying psychology, where I had an exam week in January, and I was writing
Mm-hmm.
exams. So I was writing exams during the week, and the exam might take maybe 2 hours, 3 hours to complete, and then a book idea might come into my head. Quickly write that down on the computer, get straight back to the exam. Or a book idea comes to mind whilst I'm studying. Right, stop studying, write down the idea, go back to studying. So when these things are happening, you can't ignore the creativity and the innovative thinking that you're having, because if you miss an idea, that idea
Mm-hmm.
could be a breakthrough idea. That idea could change your entire life. And if you let that slip, that's gone. We forget things as people. So if you don't write down your ideas, if you don't allow yourself to have this space to also be creative, then it just doesn't work as well. And that's how you make the balance. Sometimes one has to sacrifice the other. Like, sometimes you may not
Mm-hmm.
do as much schoolwork, but of course you
Oh,
make
yes.
sure you do the schoolwork. You don't ignore the schoolwork, because that's part of the hustle. You keep up
Mm-hmm.
both, and that's what makes you improve and succeed in being the person who does both. You exceed in both. You don't just do your side hustle and then forget your academics. No, you don't just do academics and then forget your side hustle. That's how you do both. That's what makes you separate from other people. So the two actually complement each other from time to time. When I'm tired of, my creativity and
Mm-hmm.
writing, so on, for like maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, it's nice to just turn away, look at some psychology, do some reading around that. That's more structured, that's more restricted. And then, after you're done with that, right, let's go back to the creativity. Let's keep working there. And it's almost like lighting up different areas of the brain. So it works. And if anything, I function best when I'm doing both. When like
Oh.
school stopped, yeah, no, genuinely, I function best when I'm doing both. Summer was a bit more different for me. I was working on my audiobook over summer and I had
Mhm.
no school. School was finished. But just because I was working on my audiobook, there was not really much else time for me. There was not much time to do anything else. So yeah, I worked on my audiobook for about 3 hours a day, but I had many, many hours left in the day. I would just sit, relax, watch some television, watch series and stuff. And that's fine, of course.
Mhm.
Rest is fine, but I definitely felt like I took a very, very restful summer compared to what I intended the summer to be. So now that I'm back, studying here in America, working on projects, still promoting my book, I feel good whilst I'm super, super busy. When one's not up, or when I'm doing less than one than the other, then that's when I feel like I can slip off slightly because I have a lot more free time in my day, and it's hard to feel stuff as a creative if you haven't got like a normal working job.
Oh yeah. Well, that being said, that's really amazing. That being said, there's something that blew me away. I do not really know what criteria is used to pick out people to represent us whenever we have summits or conferences. So you were invited to one of the prestigious summits, not just in the nation, worldwide. You attended the United Nations General Assembly, and
Yes.
also not only were you in attendance, but you were in attendance as an author. Like, what did that mean to you? What's the gravity of this invitation?
um that was definitely, again, it has to be up there with one of the highlights of one, my first year becoming an author, and just being an author in general, especially to receive that within the same year that I released my book. So I'm
Mhm.
just coming off of summer. Summer's just finished, really. I'm here in Oklahoma State University. I'm here in America, settling down, trying to get used to my studies in America, my system here for 1 year. And then, I have
Mhm.
a friend of mine called Brighton Kaoma, who's also a Zambian and who works within
Yes.
the UN as the global director of the UNSDSN Youth Organization. He, said to me, the United Nations General Assembly is coming up. You can apply to be invited. And,
Oh wow.
application, he, gave some guidance around the correct thing to put in there and the best way of succeeding in the application. I applied,
Mhm.
waited for some days and received a response back um, just a few days prior to when the summit was beginning. And, they said, we're happy to invite you. And,
Wow.
immediately I had to call my parents, tell them, all right, I need to go to New York. This summit's happening.
Mhm.
Find the money to purchase a plane ticket and, just get ready to move up and go to New York. So that was definitely like a big highlight because, I was being rewarded technically for something I had done close to a year ago. And that for me was an authentic that authenticated, the magnitude of writing a book. Like the opportunities that can come with writing a book
Oh
will
yes.
come in 5 years, 10 years, or like for instance, for me, it happened a whole year later where, the United Nations General Assembly was an environment and place where I was allowed to be. It's where I was accepted. And that was just through, writing this book about inspiration and trying to educate people about inspiration. So that was definitely one of the biggest moments of my entire life and being an author for sure.
Great. Amazing. Well, I just can't stop. I just can't stop and digest everything at once. It's like everything just aligned for you. Everything just um opened up the moment you became an author. It's like you have everything figured out. What's next for you aside from being an author or away from the book inspired? What's next for you? What do you see yourself doing next? This is really huge, but then what's the next big thing?
Yes, for sure, for sure. What is next? Because that is what people want to know. People want to know, is he writing another book? People want to know
Uh-huh.
what's happening next. What's the next book going to be about, and so on. Um, and yes, like, as you say, like moving away from the book, because of course, I'm an author and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
I won't be. I've always been author forever, but when you do things like this, people expect to see, what you're gonna do next. Like that's genuinely what they think. They think, what are you gonna do next? And of course, it's gonna have to be away from the first project of Inspired, um, because I am an author. Inspired is my book, but now it is time to begin moving forward, begin moving on to the next thing, another project like this, and doing something similar, if not better, once again. So at the moment, my team and I from England have
Mm-hmm.
been working together to put a few projects in place. The first one, of course, is my audiobook that will be coming out hopefully by the end of 2022, and that will be something
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to getting the second version of Inspired out. Through my voice, through my lens,
Yes.
through my
Mm-hmm.
own stories, and it's the first audiobook I've ever done. So I'd like to see how that's received by the public and people and stuff. Another thing I'm working on is an Instagram TV series. My team and I,
Ah,
yes, yeah, an Instagram TV series. So whilst I'm here at OSU, Oklahoma State University, for those that don't know, I
yes.
am around very, very inspirational people, and the type of people I'm talking about are athletes. Here,
Mm-hmm.
take sports so seriously. College football, college basketball, college athletics, track and field. These things are taken very, very seriously in America compared to the rest of the world. Some of the
Yes.
guys here are on trajectories to enter into professional American football, the NFL, professional basketball, the NBA. Some of these
Mm-hmm.
guys are seriously going to become professionals, and that is how the system is here. So my team and I have managed to come up with an Instagram TV series called Neo Talks, which is where I will be interviewing OSU athletes about what a college athlete at this level, what's required of them, what it is about them that makes them different to other people and succeed in
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing and be as inspirational as they are. And in this series as well, I will also be challenging some of these guys to, one-on-one basketball to really see how good these guys are, racing, exercising together, working out in the gym, sharing workouts, practicing drills, and just so that people can see that entertainment side of things, and for me to just challenge these guys and show and see what American athletes really have to show and their true ability. So the show
Uh-huh.
is currently in the works and will hopefully be broadcasted on Instagram by November. Sometime in November, we're looking to release the first couple of episodes.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Would it be right for me to call you multi-talented? Because
Multi-talented. Which talents would you be referring to?
well, this is another side of you that we're going to get to see you working out with all these people. We are going to be seeing you now. We only heard of you and we just have all these pictures of you as we read through your book, but now we're going to be able to see you. So it's more like you're going to be a TV personality now.
It's interesting you actually say that, and the way you've put it, I didn't actually see it like that. But now that no, yeah, now the way that you've put it, it clicks in my head almost, and it almost makes sense as I make this transition away from my book, as you mentioned, and
Hmm.
seen me, seen the guy with the pictures. This is the kid that has done the book. Here's his book. This is what he looks like. He's spoken once or twice on some, interviews, podcasts, articles. But now, with this new, Neo Talks that's coming out, you're gonna see, another side of me. As you said, you're gonna see me speak. I'm gonna be talking. I'm gonna be sharing my views and thoughts on different things, life. Surrounding yourself with the right people, and of
Oh,
course, yeah,
yes.
you'll see you'll see my athletic ability, which I can tell you now isn't as good as OSU athletes, um, but no, we'll see. We'll see. I grew up playing soccer. I do like
Uh-huh.
exercise, sport, and fitness myself. And yeah, it's just something to to add to me, add to my brand, and move forward with. So yeah, we're in a very explorative space right now. We're in a very creative space. You know, the opportunities
Hmm.
are very, very open, and we think that this is going forward.
Great, that's wonderful. Well, coming to the financial aspect of it, or you did highlight the fact that you had to reach out to your parents the moment you got this invitation to attend the United Nations General Assembly. So how was it for you the moment you you decided to become an author? Who funded all this?
Yeah. So of course, you know, I'm a university student. I'm not made of money. Money doesn't grow on trees. So even though I did write the book, you know, I put all the work in and stuff. You know, a book costs quite a bit of money to make. So, you know, I didn't have that type of money to just be, you know, giving to the editors, giving to the publishers, giving to
Hmm.
the PR people who were, you know, creating articles, giving me press statements and so on. Opportunities to go out into the street, into shopping malls. That was definitely sponsored by my parents, and you know, they've been such big help to me on this entire journey. And you know, if it wasn't
Hmm.
for, would be no book, it would just be on a computer, because you know, they've helped bring this project to life. So yeah, no, my parents have been very, very helpful in, you know, seeing my dream, seeing my, you know, journey, and you know, helping me to move forward with it.
Wow. Um, may I ask, are you the only child? Do you have siblings? Like,
Yes, yeah, no, I have two siblings. I have two sisters. They're both older than me.
ah, okay,
Yes.
amazing. How are they taking all this? They must be really proud. I would be proud. How are they taking all this?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Both of them are proud of me. You know, they always say to me, you know, well done. You know, you're so wise and so on. You know, they've been good support for me, and have been there when I needed them, and have given me the confidence to know that, you know, I'm doing the right thing. Things
Mhm.
that should be going. So you know, they've been great. They've been great siblings.
Great. So, the people that have gone before you that have done great things as well, and I'm sure the people that you look up to, and the people that are also coming, that are going to come after you, what's the one thing that you really want to teach them that you feel wasn't taught to you?
Mm. Um, I'm not sure if I would say it wasn't taught to me, these things specifically, because you know, I learned from all sorts. I would learn from videos, people,
Mm-hmm.
parents, friends. So I think even what the lesson I'm about to say has definitely been taught to me, and you know, it's probably been taught to everyone. But it's a generic one. You know, I think it's believe in yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
belief is like everything, in my opinion. You know, you can have work ethic, you can have talent, you can have intellect, all this, all that, but you know, you know, an intellectual person may not be able to, I don't know, produce a thesis or produce, you know, an academic work if they don't believe that they can do it. A person who,
Yes.
you know, works hard and has good work ethic can not do anything with that if they don't believe they can do anything with what they have. Belief is like the main thing to even start anything. Like, if you don't believe that you can do it, from you have no foundation in what you're trying to do. You have no foundation.
Oh,
um
yes.
so yeah, I think you have to believe in whatever it is you're doing, and just have belief that you have the capabilities, you have the credentials, the skills, and the intellect, all within yourself, within your current self, to go on to do whatever it is you want to do. And even though you may
Mm-hmm.
not have them fully or fleshed out, they will develop as you go. Sometimes you have to learn on the job. You know, I've never been an author before, but you know, I believed I could
Oh,
do it.
yes.
Did it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, you have to just believe, and a lot of these things you'll have to learn on the job. Everything you do that's new, you have to learn on the job. A lot of these things you wouldn't have done it before. That's how you get experience. So
Oh,
having
yeah.
just belief that you can do it is the first step, in my opinion, and it's one of the most important things that sometimes a lot of people overlook.
Wait, how on earth are you 20 and this wise? Like, how are you this wise? Heavens,
We thank
you're
God.
so.
We thank God.
We sh-
Thank God.
we surely thank God. Have you heard the phrase Zambia Kuchalo?
I have, yeah, but I don't really know what it means.
Really?
I don't.
Okay, fine. You're going
Let
to
me guess.
say
Let me
this.
guess. Let me guess. Does it mean let's go
Mhm.
Zambia? Does it mean let's go Zambia?
Something in those lines, yes. But then it
Okay.
means Zambia to the world. So it's like Zambia beyond our borders. Yeah,
Oh,
Zambia Kuchalo. Yes,
interesting.
Zambia to the world.
That's interesting because I didn't know what it meant exactly, but when Patson and I became friends, I
Uh,
posted a picture of us together hit at Leicester City football club, and one of the caption I wrote was actually Zambia to the world and back, but I hadn't heard about Zambia Kuchalo yet, oh, and I didn't know what it meant either. So that's interesting.
Ah, great. So that's exactly what it means. Zambia to the world and back. So that's exactly what it means. You didn't know what it meant, but now you do. And it's as though you already knew.
Yes, yeah, no, that's cool. That's real cool. Zambia Kuchalo, man. Zambia Kuchalo. Give us you a.
I love your vibe. I love it. Really, I do. Before we recorded, I was telling myself, Vanessa, you need to tone down because I feel my energy is just unmatched all the time. I'm
Mm,
very
mm.
I'm not much of an extrovert. I'm just loud, generally loud. So I told myself I was going to tone down because you seemed to me to be an introvert. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to try and suit the energy and just flow with the vibe. But then you're just bringing this energy, and then I can't just tone down. I'm super excited.
Yeah, no, 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 no. I'm not an introvert. Of course, I think everyone's introverted to their own extent, but no, I'm an extrovert. I chat to people, I chat to anyone and anything, um, and I love conversation. I love meeting people and so on. Um, yeah, no, I'm here to have a good time, to talk, to chop it up with a fellow Zambian. Um, yeah, nah, the vibe has been good. I've enjoyed the conversation a lot. It's been a lot of fun. I saw
Oh,
when I saw the questions initially, I was like, okay, yeah, this is something I wanna get involved in. So
I'm super glad. I'm glad you loved it. I'm glad you loved the conversation. Well, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you the last two questions, and then we're just going to get into how we can access the book. Wait, do I get a copy for free?
well, um, I was since it's been a year, since it's been a year since I released my book, October 9th, and this whole week, I've done giveaways. So
Oh yeah.
free giveaways. I've given away 10 books, and so there's three more still available for grabs. The competition ends in like just under 2 hours anyway, so you can still enter. You can still enter.
Oh
You could definitely win. I'll send you what you need to do to enter. So that
yeah.
way you could definitely win. Yeah.
Yay! A book for me.
Yes, yeah, yeah. No, but the book is available in Zambia at the moment. I
Uh,
believe it goes for, I think, around, I don't yeah, the conversion rate somewhere around 300 kwacha roughly.
okay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Kwacha, yeah, around 300 kwacha for a copy of my book. And you just need to get in touch with me so that I can tell you where you can go and pick up your copy.
Hmm.
Oh no, it's around 250 kwacha roughly. It's about 250 kwacha for one copy.
we this is a must read. It's going to be on my shelf. It's a must read before the end of this year, before the end of this month. I am entering that draw. I'm going to win that book, and I'm going to get another copy just to support you and to show you love, and just to make you understand that you're doing great things, and whatever is great, I'm going to support.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. The love is always supported, and it's always nice to have people on your side. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
The last question. So, what financial tip would you give to a young person concerning investing in their talent or their passion?
Quite simply, Don't waste money on material things, clothes, shoes. If you have two good pairs of shoes, you have two good pairs.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need five good pairs of shoes. um just don't buy what you don't need. You don't need stuff like clothes, watches, cool phone cases, jackets. You don't need those things. You need food. Spend your money on stuff that makes sense. Food, um obviously water and so on. Having a good time, of course. But again, you have to measure that in perspective. You can't have a good time every week and spend your money like a wild person. Regarding money, a lot of young people like to just spend, 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 but you can't do that. And I've learned that, especially myself, becoming an author. All I did was just reinvest into my into the business, into selling books. I sold
Mm-hmm.
20, 30 copies. Boom, I get another 20, 30 copies, reinvest it. And you just keep reinvesting into what you're doing. The money I made from the book, I always, always, always reinvested it back into it for different opportunities, traveling, selling more copies, having opportunities, going to New York and so on. Like, those were things that I just reinvested back into the business. There'll be a point where, hopefully, in whatever you want to do, you reach a level where you can get the things you want to get, the nice shoes, etc., etc. But whilst you're still on the come up, which is what this phase is called, whilst you're still becoming established in whatever field you're in, it doesn't make sense to spend money on things that are not going to help you, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks. Shoes, for instance. Shoes is the biggest one because I have a lot of friends who like to buy shoes for whatever reason. And the shoes are nice, don't get me wrong. Like, when I see nice shoes, I think, oh, I also want them, but it's not the right time for that. It's really, really not the right time for that. You have to invest in stuff that is gonna help you going forward, whether it's your own business or actual just general investments that will help you, build your finance even more. Finance is definitely something I'm definitely looking into myself, and looking how I can, make sure that my future going forward is safe, it's set, and will enable and help me to just do things with my life, with my projects, lead to financial freedom. Finance is so important, and especially as university students, a lot of people like to, spend money in certain ways, which is their own doing, which I don't necessarily agree with as much. But you have to be careful just where you spend your money. Watch where you spend your money. Does it make sense? Ask yourself, does that make sense? Do I need to buy that? Do I really need that? You have to be asking yourself this question. So, of course, if it's your birthday, if it's Christmas, enjoy. I have to enjoy it myself. You have to spend money when it makes sense, but don't just be spending money like it grows on trees, because it doesn't grow on trees.
Oh no, that.
Grow on trees.
Yeah, well, that's very insightful. Um, I'm very big on finances as well. As young people, I feel reinvesting is what we should do at this stage. There's this certain lifestyle that we love, but then we'll get there. Let us just respect the process, the purpose, and just be patient about everything. So then, Neil, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yes.
Neil,
Yeah. No.
Zambian one.
No.
Neil.
Nail. Yeah. Nail.
Now, so
Yeah.
where can we find your book?
You can find my book on Amazon. Just search
Mhm.
"Inspired" with my name. Neo Kalungu-Banda, or just Neo Kalungu-Banda Inspired Neo Kalungu-Banda. Head over to my
Mhm.
Instagram at neo.kb. My link is in my bio to purchase my book. If you want, just send me a direct message. I will reply to you and give you a link directly that takes you there. And also, there was copies in Zambia anyway, so for that, you would have to also just send me a message so that I can tell you where you can go and collect it. Because obviously in Zambia things work slightly different. But
Mhm.
yeah, you can just send me a message, and also I also just send like a poster out so that people know exactly the number to contact to purchase your copy of my book.
Well, that's great. Like I said, I'm gonna get people to buy your book because I know it's very inspirational, and I just want the reading culture to grow in Zambia. I just don't feel we read enough. You know what I mean? Like, our whole educational system is not centered around books, around reading. And I would really love to see a shift a different change with the little kids that are coming up now. So I'm glad you're making a difference, and I really, really hope you know how impactful your book has been and will forever be. This is something that will be with us now till 100 years from now.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and
Hmm.
yeah, no, definitely. I think even reading is a tough thing for a lot of people in the West as well, overseas. A lot
Yeah.
of people reading as much. Kindles is more, you know, modern audiobooks and so on. So it makes sense that some people just, even myself, reading is not the easiest of things. There's times when I go for so long without reading, but it's always there and available, and it's the easiest way of acquiring knowledge. So
Oh, yeah.
but I appreciate it. I do appreciate it, and I've really enjoyed being here talking with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. The feeling is mutual. This is a wrap. This is how we're gonna end up to this episode of A Piece of V. Please do not forget to favorite this particular episode, share it with a friend. Also, follow me on all my social media platforms. It's Vanessa Makete on Instagram, A Piece of V podcast on Facebook, A Piece of V on YouTube, and also it's available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor FM. Like I said, please do not forget to favorite this episode. Also, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. This episode is amazing. I enjoyed and had fun with Neil in Zambia.
Wait, so are you
I,
saying people in Zambia call me Nia?
yes, Neil.
No, you pronounced it correctly. When you first asked, you said Neo. I thought Zambians
Yeah.
are the ones who know how to pronounce it. It's the West who like to say Nia.
Ah, right. I see. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's West. It's Neo for those of you who have been confused. It's Neo.
Well, it's been lovely having you. What would your closing remarks be?
Um, well, yeah. Once again, just believe in yourself to do what it is you want to do. You don't have to ask for permission to do anything. You gotta just break barriers and start whatever it is you want to start. And really as well, like a phrase that a good friend of mine said to me, you need to start yesterday. Meaning whatever you wanted to do, you should have just started it yesterday, because the way time works, the way time moves, you have to
Hmm.
be quick with things. You have to be you know ready to just do things and have that desire and hunger to start whatever it is that you want to start. And it's not mean to say that you need to rush projects or rush the process, because those are the important things, and that's why you need to start yesterday, because these things take time. You can't
Hmm.
write a day. So if you want to write a book, you need to start yesterday. If you want to do this, do that by that year, by this milestone, by that goal, by that month, you need to start yesterday, because these things take time. And by the time you started, the earlier you start, the earlier you finish. So that's what I can recommend to people, Zambians out there, especially those who want to come up and do things, achieve things. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was very inspiring, like your book. See what I did there. So, um, I hope to have a conversation with you just right before the year ends. I'm so grateful for having you. I'm so grateful for this conversation and how warm you have been. I wish you all the success in your future endeavors. Well, from Neil and I, it's good night. Have yourselves a productive week and God bless.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.